Hello and welcome to Do It Like a Dancer Reflections. Being a professional dancer isn't just about dancing, but it's also about figuring out how to make it into a life. In these reflections, I share some of the things I've learned and notable experiences on my journey. So our story begins this time in July 2012. I was 21 years old, I had graduated 6 weeks previously, and I had just landed in Phnom Penh in Cambodia. I was there on the advice of, and the urgings of one of my Cambodian college friends who had set me up with about 3 weeks of choreography workshops. Now, I didn't really have the money and the interest. I thought, if I'm going to be here in Cambodia, this place super far away that I can barely find on a map, then I think I should stay a few months. So I was planning about 8 months. My dad's birthday was in March the following year, and I was like, that's a good time to kind of come back to the States and figure out what is next. I had no ideas, I just had a few, Anyway, quite early on in my stay in Cambodia, I would say as early as a month, and definitely growing within the following months, and coming to a head at about 4 months, I was starting to think that 8 months wasn't enough. In fact, I was really feeling a conflict about the idea of leaving Cambodia in another 4 months, as it was at that time. And it just didn't seem like enough. And there were 3 big reasons for that. So the first reason had to do with the general kind of culture around the arts in Cambodia at that point. So about 40 years previously, there was the Pol Pot regime from 1975 to 1979. About 20% of the population was killed from the political regime. It's called the Khmer Rouge. And most of Cambodian arts, traditional arts, were passed down orally. Well, during the genocide, about 90% of the artists were killed, and so the vast majority, almost all of these just traditional arts, almost completely destroyed. Since from about 15 years ago, when the country really began to get stable again, suddenly the arts became very important because there is this whole thousands of years of heritage that had almost completely vanished, and suddenly there was this great urgency to protect, to support, to renew, invigorate, engage the arts. And I remember being in a round table for some sort of conference or festival with the UNICEF or the UN or one of those two, and they were talking about how necessary the arts were. And I'd never been in a place where that was the pervasive feeling, and it was so exciting. Reason number 2 was that I just realized very quickly that I had a lot to learn, and especially a lot to learn from that country. I had kind of come in, I feel embarrassed to say it now, but the truth is I kind of come in with this idea like, oh, I have so much to teach, being a 21-year-old fresh out of college, like I can teach so much, these. Anyway, white savior complex and all that crap I didn't actually know I had until I realized that actually it was me that had a lot to learn. And I remember, about the second week of my workshops, I was just watching my students work and just being flabbergasted, just being like, they're not really about the movement itself, but about the energy, about the commitment, the drive, the inspiration, and determination to do something, to make something. And it was amazing. I was like, I need to be here longer to learn. I don't know what it is yet, but I need to learn something from this country. And reason number 3, and this was probably one of the biggest reasons that kind of set me over the edge of like, yes, okay, I'm gonna stay, is that I got a very interesting job offer. I was not looking for this job. It happened by, these kind of things that happen. But the biggest television network, Cambodia Television Network, was looking for a choreographer. And specifically, they were looking for a choreographer to work with the backup dancers for their live weekend concerts. So they had these weekend concerts with big pop stars every week, and it was a big deal. Lots of people watch it. But the backup dancers were, and they wanted someone to come in and kind of overhaul the system and And I was their person. But the thing is at that point when I was interviewing for the job, I was about to leave in 4 months. And the general manager of the network was like, yeah, well, we're kind of looking for someone longer term. And I went home that day and had a great existential crisis. And when I got up the next morning, I was ready to stay. And that was it. I said, you know what? I don't know what I'm fighting for. I don't know what else there is I'm waiting to go and do if I left Cambodia. I don't have better ideas. So let's just stay until such point that it's time to leave and see what happens. And that was that. So there will be many more videos to come about my work at the television network, which was its own experience entirely, as well as other reflections on Cambodia and the dance there. But that's it for today. So if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, comment, etc., etc. If you have questions for me, specifically, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye!